If you're a young man in 2026, the best way that you need to train is as an athlete. Now, I've spoken of this before, but training like an athlete really is optimal for young men like you and I. There's a lot of information out there on bodybuilding, influencing. They all tell you to train the way they train. I tell you to the way you need to be training is as an athlete. And I've realized this, that training like an athlete is going to get you more confidence. It's going to get more people to like you because you're going to be more in shape. And it also helps your mindset. You're going to be much more happier and content with yourself. Now, go over why. Now, number one is better physique. Training like an athlete just gets you an overall better physique. What do I mean by that? You might be saying, Brooksy, doesn't all people who go to the gym get good physiques? Well, not necessarily, because the thing is, I should specify, good physique depends on who you're talking to. Because realize men think a certain way about their physique and like what looks good. But then also women like a different thing in men's physique than what they actually do. In the same way, for different age ranges, different things are better. For younger people like you and me, for younger men, it's better to train like an athlete. And by that, I mean training strength training, but also training endurance training. So basically being like a hybrid athlete where you train running and bodybuilding strength, things like that. Now, bodybuilding specifically, a lot of bodybuilders, the goal of them is to get as big as possible, as much muscle as possible. If you're a young guy, that's likely not your goal. You likely want to look more aesthetic and much more attractive and just overall around appealing. Well, training with the athlete is actually going to get you that way because of the balance of doing both types of exercises by running for long distance or short bursts in intervals, and also doing resistance training of some sort. You're going to build muscle and shred off fat very quickly. Now, another reason is because us as young guys, this is good, because the physique, it really does help boost your confidence and how you feel about yourself. I often found that, and some people might say it's shallow, but the thing is, like, to a young person, it doesn't really matter because when I was younger, I think about like 3 or 4 years ago, then I found that my confidence shot up really high when I got in shape. I got a good looking physique, and I was also very attractive and athletic. So those things really did help. So just be able to move like an athlete made me feel more confident in my physique and my body. Now, your goals are likely going to change as you start to get more into bodybuilding and fitness and physique, but it's good to know that because we're younger, our goals are much more different. Older guys, they kind of just want to put on muscle. You see them, they kind of have what I call fat abs. So kind of like the stomach is much more bloated. If you're a younger guy, you more than likely want to train ab aesthetics and things like that, which means like targeted specific training. Now, number two is more energy. Now, like I just mentioned, because we're younger people have a lot more energy than older people. I know that's very simple, but you realize that's going to factor in the way you train much more. Older people do not put as much of an emphasis on cardio as they should. And that's understandable because they're older, they can't really move as much, they kind of get gassed. But the thing is, you as a young person, something you realize is that we are kind of reaching the prime of our lives right now. So we have so much energy to spare. So there's a lot of information that actually says out there, you need to be taking more rest time. But that is actually false. I've actually found that it's easier for you to undertrain than overtrain. So just keep that in mind that if you're training right now, you're probably in the undertraining than overtraining. You likely could be doing more than you actually are right now. And so that means that it's going to be more gains, more progress. This is actually a good thing because that means you could be doing more to affect your physique. Now, I'm not saying that you need to work out 7 days a week. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that because of the energy levels that you have, you can actually do more and make more with what you're given, with your body. And on top of that, actually your diet, while yes, your diet, you need to be eating clean, you actually reap much higher benefits as a younger person because your metabolism is actually quicker, despite what people say. You can actually make it faster because of your age. And also, young people recover much quicker, which means that you could actually go out and train more. And like I mentioned, this is going to help add into the confidence aspect, where I found, in my opinion, that when I work out, it's not only just good for my body, it's really good for my mind, because I find that when I'm in this sort of athletic, competitive move and like really working up, an appetite and working up my energy levels, and I'm sort of feeling like, like getting tired, that's when I feel much more confident and I feel much more competent because, confidence comes from competence. If you do something a lot of times, you're going to feel much more confident in you doing it. Like you're confident in your ability to brush your teeth today because you've done it so many times. Well, it's the same thing with fitness and working out. And like I said, it's good for the mind as well as the body because you're just overall happier and you feel much more like the man, like you feel more like the guy. And so you're getting a good body, but then also a good mind from it. So The benefits from working out are unparalleled. Training like an athlete, specifically. Not a bodybuilder who's like slow and sluggish and moving around. And number 3 is because this is actually very good for the long term. So a lot of people, like you notice, parents, moms, things like that, people, like, they kind of just want to lose weight for a season, and then they go back to eating their normal food. You see some people, women try to fit the dress, guys, they try to get rid of their gut. But the thing is, they don't really stick to it long term. The reason training like an athlete is much better is because it actually is built into your life. If you live that lifestyle of like being an athlete, kind of thinking you're an athlete, eating like one, training one, it's going to be much easier for you to stick to your diet and your routine because it's kind of a part of who you are. And actually, the thing is, once you get into fitness and making it a part of your life, you'll actually realize and come to find out that it's actually much easier to stay with it and for actually to get in it. I always say to a lot of people, so if they're fat, you only have to get in shape once, and then you stick to it after that. There's no going back to eating the way you were before. There's no like sitting around because you've seen the benefits that being an athlete brings. And you are going to have to delude yourself into thinking that that's not going to work. So your brain already knows it works. You're not just going to go back to the way you were before. And so that's why becoming an athlete is much more of a lifestyle. And it's one that you probably would enjoy. Like you would enjoy. So those are the reasons why training like an athlete is much more better for younger people. And if you actually would like to know how to actually train like an athlete and live like one, I highly recommend that you go down and join the Athletic Lifestyle. I'll put it in the description down below. Go down there and join, and there is a complete guide on how to start working like an athlete, training in your sport, like choosing the cardio of your choice, depending on who you are, and also the right nutrition you should get, and how to plan this out for the rest of your life so that you stay a in-shape person forever. All right, let's stay flashy.